So now I'm going to open it up for questions. There are probably some that have already been submitted. I just need to check. All right. So we'll start with this one. Where can I learn more about setting up the seed files and annotation groups that sit behind the creation of name boundaries and drawings? So I would say setting all of that up is probably intermediate to advanced level. If you would like to learn more, we have content on our communities page. I haven't checked our YouTube channel, but I'm sure there is something on there too. And if neither of those do it for you, you can always call us 1-800 Bentley and ask to speak to the OpenRoads department. And you can also try logging a service ticket where we will also reach out to you and help. Let's see. Next one. How do you recommend updating name boundaries when your alignment has changed? Seems that recreating the name boundaries is the only way. That is what we recommend. If you are going to be making changes, we always recommend recutting. Um, it it works way more often than just hoping everything updates dynamically. What were the top and bottom clearance settings for in the profile name boundary creation dialog? All right, yeah, that's a good point. I did kind of just skip over that. So we'll go back and look at it. So the top and bottom clearance, I also should have pointed out, if you hover over these options on the left, they do tend to give you a little more information. But both of these, it's just how much space is between the top and the bottom. So here, we can go take a look. It controls how much space is there between the top and bottom, pretty much, between the actual model, everything you have in there, and just the top and bottom of, I guess, your sheet. So you'll notice we have space down here. Now I have way more space up here than I needed, but that's just because of how the cross sections themselves fell. It's just a minimum clearance. Let's see. Next question. You can include stationing in your plan annotation group. Yes, you can. So we kind of very quickly looked at that. I'll zoom in a little bit. So I have these major and minor tick labels, and it may have been a little hard to see, but we do have stationing along the major tick lines. So right now my corridor was covering them up, and that's kind of what I was talking about. Things tend to get cluttered here. We can see though that the stationing is here, and you can change the stationing increments. You can have them appear farther out. You can make them bigger. There's a bunch of options once you start looking into all of that. But again, I would say that's more intermediate, actually diving in and changing all that. But if you would like to find more, same advice as earlier. Communities, YouTube, or reach out to us. We'll be happy to help. Can you have different annotation groups in the design and sheet models? For example, to label your geometry in the design model, but only have your stations in the sheet model. So yes, yeah, I think I briefly touched on that. You can have multiple annotation groups and multiple annotation definitions within those groups. Um, I think the main thing I want to point out here with what you're saying is uh, design and drawing models are what you'll be wanting to use for annotation. Your sheet, since it is a reference of your drawing, anything you throw in your drawing will appear in your sheet. But we really don't recommend changing anything in the sheet unless it's just fine tuning everything before your final submittal. Everything else should be able to be handled in the design and drawing. But yeah, you can have as many annotation groups as you want. Uh, Again, they'll most likely be in your libraries. Just for this demonstration, though, I'm working in the active file. These will all be in DGN libraries. I think I still have that window up. Yeah. So this is what was in the picture in that slide from my presentation. These are all of the sheet seeds, but very similarly, there is another folder in here. We can go take a look if you'd like. For DGN libraries, feature definitions. And now these all contain, text favorites, dimension styles, text styles. You have feature symbologies, definitions, annotation groups, levels, element templates, etc., etc. These will be where you will most likely want to put your annotation groups. When these are delivered, you'll probably have your own folders and everything for your own company standards. Can we make project-specific sheet seeds or borders? Right now, they pull from a Texas DOT standard file folder location. Can we have it routed to a different folder so we can have custom borders that will sheet per project? Yes, you can. Now, I will say this is, I would say, more along advanced. If you'd like to learn more, I would absolutely recommend reaching out to us or checking the communities or YouTube. I don't think we have time to go over all of that. How can I easily delete all drawing and sheet models? Oh, that's a great question. So let's go ahead. I'll go ahead and pull up that models dialog that I was showing earlier. I don't know if I mentioned earlier, the models dialog is under the OpenRoads modeling workflow, home tab, primary group, right here at the top. So if you wanted to delete everything in this file, um, minus your default and default 3D, you can either delete them one by one. You can pick which ones if you only want to get rid of a few of them, or you can even shift click and select all of them. You can control click to pick certain ones in here, but pick multiple. And then you can either hit that red X. It's not red right now because I don't have anything selected. Hit this red X. You can right click, hit delete. And I also believe you can even hit the delete key on your keyboard depending on what your key bindings are. But it will ask, it'll confirm that this is actually what you want to do. I'm not going to. I'm going to say no. But yes, you can very easily delete everything here. If adding annotation in the drawing model instead of the design model, is there a way to apply annotation or update to all drawing models at once? Yes, that was another option I skipped over. Thank you for pointing that out. Let's go take a look, really at any of these. But if we go back to so we actually have two options here. For the most part, depending on your annotation group you select during making the sheets, whenever you're cutting, it'll go ahead and annotate everything. But like you said, if you're needing to update, we do have it to where you can either remove everything and then put it back in the drawing models. And there should be an option right here where you can select and say all drawing models, and it's the same for remove as well. You can remove all annotation from all drawing models, and you can annotate all drawing models with a specific annotation group. Can you move the annotation elements after they are placed? For example, the curve information if there is masking with a survey that may be attached. Yes, you can. The only thing we worry about with something like this is if you need to update the model or anything, re-annotate, for example, all of that annotation you've moved, if you don't have certain settings selected, they will go back to their default location. We have just recently added, I think it's called white space management, where you can toggle a specific setting, but I think um, that's more workspace setup. And again, I don't think we have time to go over that. We for sure have videos about that on our communities. We should have a whole wiki page dedicated to it. Is there a way to display multiple profiles on one sheet? For example, can a side street that has a separate profile for an entrance and exit be displayed side by side on the same plan sheet? On the same, yes. So you should be able to have multiple profiles per sheet. And again, that is going to take more time than we have to demonstrate how to set that up. But we do have wikis on our communities of how to set that up. And I believe I keep throwing around communities and YouTube page and everything. I believe communities is on the links that you can see. You may just have to search for it. And if you can't find it, again, feel free to call us, reach out to us. We'll be happy to help. All right, that's all I see at the moment. I'm going to wait a little bit to see if more are filtering in.
Yeah, Jacob, we are having a lot of questions coming in the Q&A. So
Okay.
we are trying to answer those as fast as we can. Some of them, the more difficult ones, we might not be able to in this venue. I will say this: if you're not able to get your question answered here before the session ends, then definitely, either go ask it out on the forums or come or file a service request and ask an analyst the question. But we are trying to keep up over here.
Oh yeah, I see some of these. Oh yeah, there's quite a few.
Yeah, and some of them. Some of them I don't know the answer right off. I'd have to go test, and I just don't have the time and
Right.
the 5 minutes we have left here. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
know some of these I'm not going to be able to get to, but we'll be able to capture the username and the question and try and get back. And if we don't get back to you, like I said, make sure you do send that question in to us at support, and we can look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is one that just came in. Can you show crossroads over or under cross sections? And um, that that cross section model is a cut through the 3D model. So if that crossing road has the 3D meshes going over where the section's cut, then yeah, it will show up in there.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of questions here that would
Yeah,
need a lot more time to go through.
and that's
There are a lot of good questions.
yeah, we did kind of expect that with this topic, a very popular topic.
Oh, here's one we can kind of look at. Is there a way to turn on or off levels across all sheet models at once? So I think there's a few ways to approach this. The easiest one I can think of would be, I guess, is if we're assuming the drawing model is changing with the sheet model as well, that setting that I mentioned here in the drawing model, the settings from design model, any level you turn off in your design model, or any view attributes that you change. And when I say view attributes, I mean up here we have all of these settings. anything you change here in your design will update all the way through to your sheet model. But yes, I would say there's probably a few other ways. I believe the levels display dialog themselves, you can usually click through multiple models here, especially if they're referenced, and you can turn off anything. But if you're talking all sheet models all at once, this I think would be on a more individual level basis. But the settings from design model you could easily control. You can change that at any time too. So you can easily control the levels from the design model and have that update through to all your sheets.
Jacob, we have time for probably one more question. We've got about 7 minutes left, and then we can probably up here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still kind of reading through a lot of these. A lot of these are going to need a more in-depth. Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Here's one. Can you edit the name boundary that will automatically change the created sheet and model view? So you can move name boundaries around, but we recommend if you're going to make any changes like that, go ahead and recut. Drawing production, I know we like to see how everything's going to look, of course, well before whatever deliverable you're working on is submitted. But drawing production itself should be one of the last things you're doing. And for the sheet, if you're going to be making those kinds of changes, we'd recommend recutting. Because things can, depending on what you do, things can get wonky.
There's one that just came in asking, do drawing models have to be in the same files as sheets? And there is an option when you go to the create drawing dialog to place your sheets in a different DGN. You just specify the location of that DGN. So that is possible.
That's a good question.
On the create drawings dialog.
Yeah, we'll have to, here, I can pull it up real quick doing the name boundary stuff. Do I still have multi-model up? All right, perfect. So we'll go to name boundary, or no, name boundary manager. We'll just go to cross section, sure. And I'll go ahead and toggle on create drawing dialog, and I'll just focus on this first one. Oh, this is much smaller than I'm used to. But yeah, you can choose where it goes to. You can browse to an already existing one. If you uncheck this, it just puts it in the active file, or you can even go ahead and make a new one. Oh, here's one. How do you change the name of a saved view? So there is a save view tool. Here, we'll actually go to the primary group. We got to go find it here. Saved views. And you can just right click and rename to change the name of the saved view. Now, doing it here in the active DGN won't really affect much. If you're doing it for your sheet seeds and everything, that's where these will affect what you see in this drawing seed drop down.
Okay, thanks, Jacob. Like I said, with the other questions that we just don't have the time to get to, we'll try and capture those and reply as we can. If there is a question that you have outstanding and you need an answer for it pretty quick, then definitely contact us in support.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.